Okay, welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're going really far back.
Yeah, not just like ancient history or myths we kind of know.
No, way, way before that. We're talking about existences that predate, well, pretty much everything we think of as the beginning, even the earliest gods.
Absolutely. It's deep time, and we've been digging into some pretty intense sources for this one. Things talking about the old ones, the stories of the Nephilim Kings, and this other concept, the veil of unmaking.
Right, and our mission today, you could say, is to try and connect these dots, see how these ancient powers, these entities, might be linked.
And there's this thread running through it all, isn't there? This idea of corruption. A really deep, pervasive corruption.
It really is. Makes you wonder, what was out there in those absolute depths of time, before anything we recognize. And what is it about this kind of ultimate power that seems to just attract corruption?
Big questions. So where do we start? The absolute beginning, or maybe even before that?
Let's start there, with the old ones.
The old ones? Okay. I mean, the name itself tells you something, right? Ancient doesn't even cover it.
Not even close.
The sources say they existed before the gods had names, before the stars were placed in the heavens. Just try and wrap your head around that time scale.
It's almost impossible, really. We're talking pre-cosmic.
Yeah.
Before the known universe, maybe.
And these aren't like benevolent creator types who just drifted off. The picture painted is, it's grim.
Yeah, forgotten, corrupted, and jaded. That's the description that stands out.
Yeah.
They gave in to the darkness, to the rot.
It's like a fall from grace, but on a scale we can barely imagine. From something grand, something unknowable to, well, the text says something worse than gods.
Worse than gods. And they didn't just disappear, did they? They're still around in some way.
Apparently. The sources suggest they move beneath us, which might not mean literally underground. Maybe more like
another layer of reality, just under the surface.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Influencing things from the shadows. Ruling mortals, it says, in the tween. That sort of liminal space between realities.
How? Through what?
Through malice and fear and with words that pollute the mind. It's insidious, Not direct control, more like twisting things. Playing on fear.
And there are different kinds. Different groups of these old ones.
Seems so. There are the first ones sealed, the ones supposedly sleeping beneath the earth, and then you have the fallen and the forsaken.
They're described as being stuck between the above and the below, like cosmic outcasts.
Yeah, and this idea of choosing ruin seems really important to their story. They weren't just victims of circumstance, they actively gave in.
To darkness, rot, hunger, the void. That choice is what twisted them, right, into these corrupted and profane forms.
Exactly, and the language used is harsh. They spit upon the heavens and curse the depths below, a total rejection of everything.
And the specific examples of the sealed ones, they're really something. Each one is like a different flavor of nightmare fuel.
Right. Take the light that blinds. Sounds good, maybe? Pure.
Not so much. It's a radiant falsehood. It looks pure, but it actually burns away your will. There's this hidden hunger beneath the glow.
It's a really chilling idea, corruption hiding behind beauty or light, twisting that desire for purity against you.
Then you have the serpent that refuses to be forgotten.
Ah, yeah. This one's interesting. Its immortality is tied to memory, as long as people remember it, even in fear.
It survives. It shows how powerful stories, even dark ones, can be over these immense time scales.
Absolutely. And then there's, the womb of sorrow.
Yeah, described as a mother of abominations, creating these nightmare creatures with mouths that wail and drive you mad.
And here's a major link we need to remember. The text explicitly says she is the mother of the Nephilim Kings of old.
Boom, there it is, a direct bloodline, sort of from these primordial corrupted beings down to the next major players.
It's a crucial connection. We'll definitely come back to that. But there are others too, quickly. The Black Stag, once good, now twisted by a broken divine heart.
The Black Sun sounds nihilistic. Devours light, swallows time, reflects only endings.
Pretty much captures it. And the Prophet of Circles, an orator speaking in these endless, maddening loops, trapping you in language.
So each one is a unique kind of primordial decay. Beings of immense power, but ultimately broken, corrupted.
And even though they're supposedly sealed or bound, their influence, it leaks out, doesn't it?
Yeah, the sources mention cults, people trying to get power or forbidden knowledge from them.
Which always ends badly, apparently. Madness is the usual outcome.
Because the old ones do not grant gifts. They simply take. It's parasitic.
Totally. It just highlights how fundamentally broken and corrupt they are. There's no positive exchange possible there.
Okay, so from these incredibly ancient fallen towers, we get to their offspring, or at least the offspring of one of them.
The Nephilim Kings.
Right, the first 7, these pre-flood giant kings, ruling for thousands of years.
And again, the description is key. Neither mortal nor fully divine, but something greater, something monstrous.
Their origin story is dark too, isn't it? Born from Lilith and, well, either a fallen angel or some kind of dark, corrupted god.
Yeah, the lineage is consistently tied back to these, let's say, non-standard, darker forces we've been talking about, rooted in that same ancient trouble.
And like the old ones, each of the 7 progenitors is distinct, embodying something terrifying. First,
Behemoth, the Earthborn King. He's called the first of the lycanthropes.
Okay. Pictures show him with these sort of earth-toned angelic wings. Master of animal forms.
Yeah, his connection is earth, dominion over land, animals, that kind of thing.
Then there's Leviathan.
The Deep Lord rules the oceans, progenitor of the people below in this place called Abazoth.
Scaled human form, but with abyssal fin wings. And his true form is...
Yeah, pretty nightmarish. Octopus man-serpent hybrid, pure deep-sea terror. His element is water.
Okay, who's next?
The Blood God. You can probably guess his domain.
Vampires.
Father of vampires, yeah. The Shadowed King. Shrouded in darkness, black wings, craved mortal blood.
And the source says he cursed Cain, made him the first vampire.
That's the story. Tied to hunger, night, cursed immortality. Element. Blood, obviously.
The harlot.
The first temptress, queen of desire. Unbelievably beautiful, apparently. Iridescent white wings.
She's the first succubus. Progenitor of incubi and succubi.
Exactly. Embodied both the light and darkness of temptation. Ruled the Crimson Court. Her element is light and darkness.
Makes sense. Keep going.
The dragon, mother of all worms, a striking woman, reptilian eyes, wyvern wings.
But could also become a massive, multi-headed dragon.
Yep. Bearer of storms, ruled the skyborn thrones. Element, thunder and air, pure aerial power and fury.
Okay, 2 left.
The phoenix, the burning tyrant, also called the king of ash, wings made of flame, fiery aura.
Burned the ground he walked on, eyes like embers. Sounds intense.
Extremely. Wrath that incinerated cities, represents both rebirth and destruction.
Yeah.
Ruled the ashen wastes, element, fire.
And the last one, the Chimera.
The broken one, also the father of alchemy. Shattered wings, twisted face. He sounds damaged.
But dangerous. Unlocked transformation. Alchemy. Created monsters.
Basically, yeah. Ruled the blighted lands like some kind of mad scientist god king. His element is mutation and alchemy.
So these 7, they weren't just monsters lurking, they ruled for millennia.
As gods, yeah. Built empires, demanded worship. But like so many powerful beings in these stories, arrogance led to their downfall. The texts talk about a war of heaven and earth and the great flood. It wasn't just a random event.
It was aimed at them. A purge.
A purge, exactly. Specifically to wipe out the Nephilim and their corruption. A war between gods and these titans.
And their ends were...
dramatic.
Suitably epic, yeah. Behemoth, buried alive, back to the earth.
Yeah.
Leviathan, cast into the abyss.
The blood god. Banished to the void, name erased. The harlot. Palace shattered, essence scattered.
The dragon's kingdom was scoured, her kids scattered, the phoenix burned out, maybe waiting to return, and the chimera...
He just vanished, never found.
Never found. But his experiments, his creations, they remained. The key point, though, for all of them...
Yeah.
Defeated, yes, but not destroyed.
Exactly. Their bloodlines, their secrets, their followers, they survived the flood in some ways. A shadow left on the world.
Which is maybe where this next concept comes in.
Yeah.
This force that seems to tie everything together.
The veil of unmaking, also known as the crawling blight.
Yeah, that doesn't sound good. It's described as the ultimate corruption, right? Seeping out from the cracks of the world.
The imagery is powerful. Started as a trickle, became a devouring torrent. Someone even called it the sizzling celestial syphilis.
Wow. Okay, that's graphic. But it gets the point across. This isn't subtle.
Not at all. It's pervasive, destructive, and the origins. There are a couple of theories in the sources, both pretty chilling.
What are they?
One is that it's the black water from the flood. All the drowned beings, Nephilim, their monsters, their worshippers.
All that suffering and rage coalesced.
Into a vast living mass, sentient in its suffering, lurking at the bottom of the oceans, a collective consciousness of the purged, wanting to rise again.
Okay, that's one hell of an origin story.
Yeah.
A sentient ocean of pain and vengeance.
The other idea is maybe even worse, that the veil is older. Much older.
Older than the Nephilim. Older than the old ones, even.
Possibly. An amalgamation of forgotten entities from previous cosmic cycles, void beings, angry souls, things left over from past realities, just hungry.
Forgotten things coalescing into pure corruption. So whatever its origin, its nature is, bad news.
Pure, unadulterated corruption. That's the description. And unlike the others, it doesn't really create anything. It only twists, spoils, ruins.
Land, water, people. Even gods aren't safe.
Nothing is safe. It's called the whispering rot, the hollowing black, the creeping filth. It's the slow suffocation of all that is light, all that is pure.
How does it spread? How does it work?
It seeps into bones, lurps in deep trenches, slithers through the earth, festers in mountains. It's described as being everywhere, fundamentally.
An omnipresent decay. And how does it affect individuals? You don't just suddenly get covered in black goo, presumably?
It starts subtly, like a background noise, a static of nothingness, tempting whispers of forbidden knowledge, promises of power, playing on your desires and emptiness.
The classic lure, power, secrets.
But it's a trap, obviously. Eventually, this viscous black substance does take over physically. It corrupts from the inside out, turns you into something dripping its ichor, poisoning everything around you.
So it's a spiritual decay that becomes physical, a total tainting.
Exactly. And it doesn't communicate with words. Not really. It's more about feeling. Longing in promises in the quiet lure of the abyss. It taps into that dark pull towards oblivion that maybe exists in everything.
And its ultimate goal.
Simple and terrifying.
Yeah.
For what is above must fall, for what is below must rise, and everything in between will know the dark, suffocating grip of the veil of unmaking. Total entropy, total corruption.
And the sources are clear. Nothing escapes it.
Nothing. No mortal, no thing, not even deities. It's the ultimate endpoint of decay. The inescapable taint, rot, blight.
Okay, wow. So let's tie this back. The connections seem pretty strong now.
Definitely. The old ones, these beings from before time, they could easily be those forgotten entities that supposedly make up the veil.
Their own fall into darkness and rot sounds awfully similar to the veil's nature, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe they were early victims or even contributors.
Could be. And that direct line from the Room of Sorrow, an old one, to the Nephilim Kings, that's not subtle. It's a lineage of corruption.
So the Nephilim's monstrous nature, their destructive reigns. Maybe that was the veil already starting to manifest more strongly in the world, accelerated by their power.
It's a compelling idea. Maybe the God's War and the Flood weren't just about punishing the Nephilim's arrogance, but a desperate attempt to contain this deeper corruption, this veil.
Trying to push back the blight. But maybe you can't really seal it off or flood it away.
Perhaps not. If it's truly fundamental, maybe those actions were just delaying the inevitable, like trying to hold back the tide.
The constant theme is just corruption. It's inescapable. It hits the most powerful beings. It affects the world itself. It suggests this whole cosmic history might be cyclical.
A cycle of creation, corruption, unmaking. Maybe. These aren't separate problems. The old ones, the Nephilim, the veil, they seem interconnected. Part of one enormous, terrifying story.
So wrapping this up, we've gone from the deepest time with the old ones, seen their corrupted legacy in the Nephilim Kings, and looked at this ultimate all-consuming corruption of the veil of unmaking.
And it seems like the veil might be the source or the endpoint, or it'd be both. The foundation beneath it all.
It definitely leaves you feeling small. Thinking about the sheer scale of time and how fragile everything seems against these kinds of forces.
For sure. And it leaves one last really unsettling thought for you, the listener, to chew on.
Which is?
Is that static of nothingness, that first little whisper of the veil, is it really an external thing attacking us? Or is it maybe fundamental, part of reality itself?
Like an undercurrent that's always there, waiting.
Exactly. Always present, just waiting for opportunity to amplify. Maybe the void, the potential for unmaking, isn't out there, but in here, lurking just beneath the surface of everything we think is real.
That is, a chilling thought to end on. Something to definitely keep pondering. We hope you'll keep exploring these kinds of ancient mysteries with us. Until the next deep dive, keep questioning.